Hey, we're hanging out with Josh Baldwin. Dude, what a cool setup. I'm looking behind you in the room. What, I mean, the guitar on the wall.
Oh yeah.
Guitars. Oh, I didn't see that. Sweet,
Oh,
dude.
multiple guitars. I this is yeah, this is my I mean it's a glorified studio. It's a glorified office. I say studio because I have instruments in here and I have two speakers that you can't see that are pointed towards me. So I feel like if you have speakers pointing towards you in a desk, like you could call it a studio, but
Exactly.
I don't necessarily make music in here. I write music, but but yeah, this is like above my garage, my little getaway man cave office,
I
you know.
love it, man. And so you get up there and you just reminisce and you have the memories flow in and then you get the
I
inspiration and you
got
just,
all my inspirational my vinyl over here that inspires me, and then actually those are my albums lined up the
oh,
top,
nice.
kind of like a little bit of a hey, look what the Lord's done kind of row up there.
That's
So
so cool. And then you got a nap, a couch to take a nap if you need
got a
to.
couch
And
just in case, yeah, in case I get tired or I
yeah.
get in trouble.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
where
yeah.
I can, this is my couch.
Rest in the Lord,
Rest
that's
in the Lord.
oh man, well, I appreciate you taking time out today. It's part of our rewrite podcast, and um, really want to just give you an opportunity for the next couple of minutes. Just share how you came to faith in Jesus,
Yeah.
and how the Lord is working in your life now. Because you see, and I experienced that too, just through your music. Is when God puts a song in your heart,
Yeah.
man, it's just overflowing.
Yeah.
And then once you start, it's like, okay, there's another song. And then here comes another song he gives you, and on and on and on and on. But take us back to the beginning. How did it all begin?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I grew up I'm a pastor's kid. I'm a
Hmm.
PK. So I joke around about this. I was like I was born on a Sunday and in church on the next
Oh
Sunday.
yeah.
Which I mean actually is is for real. I was born on a Sunday, July 8th, 1979, and then the next week I was there. But so I grew up in church and my dad was the pastor and my mom was in the choir, but my dad was also a worship pastor. I mean, he led worship. He was a worship leader. And so I grew up around music and all of that and started playing drums for my dad growing up in church and but I mean as far as like I remember my dad praying with me just to accept Jesus when I was gosh 6 or 7 something like that um and I remember it me it not just being a prayer but I it meant it was
Hmm.
like something took place. I remember that moment. And then, I grew up in church and served the Lord, loved being a part of church, loved the youth group. Growing up in my youth group, I had a great youth group and a great youth pastor. And so and even in high school, like I was a pretty good kid. I was yeah, I didn't. I played sports, but I didn't do too. I remember like not playing some sport. Like I didn't play football, and my buddies were always upset at me because I was a pretty good athlete. And the reason I didn't play football was because I wanted to be like I was already miss. I was like, guys, I'm already missing too much youth group and all the things I want to do because of basketball and baseball. I'm not going to play football too. And it was just funny, like thinking of that, and like my friends were like, "What? You're not going to play football because you want to go to church?" But it was that's how important my youth group was to me and
Exactly. Yeah.
getting into music and leading worship and I cared so much about it. And I say all that to say I love the Lord. I was grounded in church and in the Lord growing up. But then also when I went to college, I think that's when like you leave town and like that's when like your faith it becomes like not as much your parents' faith and it
Yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
your faith. And,
Yep.
or it could go the other way and
Hmm.
you realize like oh this is I was basing all this just off my family and just I was being forced to go to church or whatever.
Exactly.
And that's when it really hits home and you're like okay are you living this way because this is what you believe or are you living this way because you this is what your parents believed and you don't want to disappoint or whatever. And so yeah, I think my college years was which was really was just 2 years. And funny enough, I did find the Lord, and I found my faith, my personal walk with the Lord there. And I got so fired up and pumped about that that I didn't go to class ever. I did I was actually a pretty bad student. Like I ended up dropping out of Lee University, and which is funny, but I it's funny now. But it's funny because I actually I fell in love with the Lord even more there, and I that's kind of where I realized like, oh, I want to be a worship leader. I want to be
Mhm.
a songwriter and a musician, and really found my faith with the Lord, and then it directed me in the path of like, oh, I should actually go this way with my
That's
life.
awesome. So
I
so
found
you so I didn't I guess you told me that before. I just can't remember. You've got an athletic background as well.
a little bit
In the early years,
in the early years. Yeah, yeah.
So,
I
so
mean,
what
nothing
what
super
what was
special.
your favorite? I mean, did multi-sport? I mean, what did that look
Uh,
like?
I mean, my favorite was always basketball. It was always like probably the one I was the best at. I played basketball, yeah, since I was a little kid up till I didn't play in college, but I played like club ball, these
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
things, and I would play it, on the playground every night I'd be out there. So, um, and I even now I still play every now and then. It's kind of shifted over into golf. I
Yep,
mean,
yep.
I played a lot of golf in my teens and early 20s, but as I've gotten older, I've put away the basketball just because I don't want to get hurt and not be able to travel. so so yeah, it's more golf now. But what
So
about
so where have you seen Jesus on the golf course? I'll ask you that, man, because
Oh man, so, yeah. Sometimes I'm like, God, where are you on the golf? Like, why hast thou forsaken me? No, I mean, I think I do love to talk about sports and all the sports mental things that
yeah.
go. I mean, I think there is something one of the reasons I do love golf and love going out is just being out in nature and
Yeah.
out. There's a peace that comes with that, and I think there is something that a lot of times it is easier to find the Lord
Hmm.
outside in nature, because you just yeah, not to quote a song that I wrote, you see the evidence of Him all around.
There you go.
That was unintentional, sorry. um but there is that, but then also, I get frustrated. Obviously, everyone gets frustrated playing golf, but there's opportunities to like kind of practice like self-control
Yeah.
and all the things like in a real way. Like it's actually golf is such a mental sport
Yeah.
that there is a lot of opportunities in there to really like uh practice the fruits of the spirit and uh,
Kindness and
yeah,
joy and
long suffering.
long suffering. Yes, yes. Oh man, dude,
Yeah.
you could write this manual. I'm
Yeah. Oh
thinking
yeah.
this golf manual of and the fruit of the spirit, and then weave it into a song somehow.
That's true. There.
I'm imagining what that could look like. It'd be like this inside thing. This inside story.
Yeah.
Singing
Yeah.
singing this one in the church. Try this one, and it's got little golf hints in there.
Yeah. Just tee it up. Tee it up on a
Tee it
Sunday
up.
morning.
Oh man, so your family's doing good. What's the Lord doing in your family right now?
Oh, they're doing great. I just got back to the house from taking the kids to school this morning. Yeah, we're doing good. It's a good season. My daughter's 13, my son's 12, and they're getting into those ages where we hang out more.
Hmm.
Like we like it's not it's I love it because I get to like go and like go on dates with my daughter, play golf with my son, or go do things with him, and we're like it's not as much like father and child,
Hmm.
as it is like, I mean, it is that, but there's just a lot of the like, oh, we get to hang out and have conversations, and I feel like I'm hanging out with an adult, and those are fun because I get to just kind of pick their brains and see what's going on in their life, and
Hmm.
just and that my goal is to like keep the lines of communication between us like always flowing and not get stagnant with that, and so that I want them to grow up and it be more. abnormal for them not to share things with me
Hmm.
than share stuff with me. And I know as they become teenagers, it's naturally just sometimes gets easier for your kid to not want to share stuff with the parents and probably more so the dad. So my goal is to like not let that happen. And we're in a good season, and I yeah, even with the Lord and everything, they're growing up. I was talking earlier about just me and growing up in a great youth group with a good youth pastor. We're in that season where they're stepping into that, and our we're wanting them to get locked in with a good youth group. We have a church and we have a youth group, so they're going into that. So I see those years. These are the years when in my life, like so much was formed, and I feel like I mean, even my parents divorced. My dad was a pastor and
Hmm.
still is, but my parents divorced when I was in high school. And um, I'll tell you the thing that like really kept me from going down a path where maybe I would be cynical towards the Lord or church, especially. I didn't go down that path because I had such a strong group of friends that were going
Hmm.
after the Lord too, and my youth group, my youth pastor, and so I just realized that that my kids aren't not going to face some of the same things that I faced, but
Hmm.
they are going to face trials here and there. And I'm like, man, I know we have a solid home for them and a solid family, but I know how important the local church and
It is, man. Yeah.
is for them. And so, yeah, we're definitely getting in those seasons where I'm like, okay, I remember being this age, and I remember the thoughts and the things going through my mind. And I just want to be aware that we're doing everything we can to keep them locked into the local church and just a good community.
So you can be a good parent chaperone now.
Yeah, no, that's true. They did just have they go to a Christian school here. Well, they're kind of co-op. They do 2 days at school and three
Uh,
days homeschool. But there was like a little dance kind of thing they had the other day, and so I did take them to that. So,
they
so
didn't ask you to play or anything, or
no, no, thankfully, no, thankfully they didn't. There was they definitely none of my music was played there, but there was a lot of Forrest Frank.
There you go.
They
There you go.
yeah, but which my son, I was like, Dad, yeah, sorry, they didn't play any of your songs. I was like, well, I that doesn't shock me. My songs aren't very like school dance kind of songs. So
So okay, so you got to put us in that picture. Okay, so were you kind of the wallflower? Were you kind of serving? Were you at the door?
I
Or
was for that. So for that one, I dropped them off. I was there for just a little bit. Then I left. I got out of the way. I didn't bother them. And then came back and got. Now there was another dance. We had a father daughter dance. Not actually beginning of last year, and that was the one where I was in. We dressed up.
oh
I had a
yeah,
dance. I mean, it was one of those where I wouldn't naturally just go dance and do all that, but it's for your daughter.
oh
You got
yeah.
to. And so, no, that one I was definitely in the middle of the dance floor dancing with my daughter, and those were fun. But yeah, this one that was more like I was gonna stay, but this one was like, hey, Dad, can you just do you mind going? And I was like, nope, that's fine. I'll go to the house. I'll be back in a little bit.
You
So,
could be like the dad that's like, hey, you got something right here. Oh, just
yeah,
embarrass them real
right.
good. They'll never let you live that one down. That's
Oh no,
I'm right there with you. I've got a 17-year-old son and then 13-year-old daughter. So there's part of me that's like part of the walking through it with them process
yeah,
is
yeah,
is 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 embarrassing them too in a
that's
good way. And
true.
it's like just wait. We're gonna have fun with this, hopefully. But
Yeah,
there's those times where you can't take it too far, which I've done
right.
before.
Oh,
It's like,
totally. You got to
oh
know.
man.
You got to know when to let up.
Yep, yep, yep. That's awesome, dude. But what's some things that we could be praying for? Heading into the spring part and then summer, of course. There's what's on
Yeah.
the horizon? What could we
I
be
mean,
lifting up?
I mean, I always say, I know we've been talking about a lot about family, but I mean, that's kind of always my go-to. If anyone ever asks that, I'm like, just praying for, just grace and strength for my family, especially when we're coming up in the times where I'm going on tour, I'm going to be traveling more. I've been home a lot these first 2 months of the year, which is amazing. And yeah, coming up on the traveling season, and I've got a tour, Made for More tour I'm about to go
Hmm.
on. And I'm my prayer just always that my family, when I'm gone, is just taken care of and loved on, and that there's just our we want our home to always be a home full of like peace and rest. And so yeah, that's my biggest prayer, just that this is another amazing year for my family of just peace and also growth, just in every way, health and wholeness. Yeah.
That's great, man. And you're talking about the tour. Who's on tour with you?
So it's me. It's my first headline tour is
Yeah.
the Made for More tour, and then my buddy Chris Ekus is coming out with
Oh,
us.
sweet, dude.
Yeah, a new artist and just a really great guy. He's actually a worship. He leads worship, but he's also like associate pastor at a
Hmm.
church in Mississippi, and just amazing guy. Writes really really great like songs like that are just make you think, like,
Hmm.
just very great storyteller in his songs. And so yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Well, I think I was looking at the calendar. I think April 10th you'll be in the
Yeah,
Spindale, North Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
you'll be in our neck of
No,
the woods. So
not
yeah, that's
far.
great.
Yeah, I've got family coming to that one. It's close enough that yeah, so that's a big one. Yeah, North Carolina. Anytime
That's
I'm
a
in my
whole other that's a whole other story. What's that like when you've got family sitting right there? Is it just like, oh, I've done that
oh
so many times, I'm okay? Or
well, I mean, it's great. It's awesome. There is like a hometown or home state shows
yeah,
are also nerve-wracking just
yeah.
because, everyone's reaching out. You're trying to get everybody
Hmm.
there, that you want to get the all the, and then say hey to everyone, and then but you still have to do all the things
Yeah.
that I have to do my job and all that. So it's both. It's both like amazing and stressful all at the same time.
There's
It's
Aunt
really
Wanda in the front row.
Yeah, no, it's one of those nights, like I look forward to those nights
Yeah.
the most out of the tour, and then when they're done, I'm just like it's like a sigh of relief,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay, that went well. Okay, let's go to but yeah, I'm pumped. I'm
That's
looking forward.
awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for hanging out this morning. Just an opportunity
Thank
to
you.
dig deep in the what God is doing in your life and in your family, and then of course, I love going back to, and I have to do that too, just personally as well as where it all began,
Yeah,
and just like,
yeah,
man, Lord, you've set me up on this path, this journey
yeah,
of sharing your story, but then hey, I can't forget about my story and how you're a thread in
totally.
all that as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
man, this is special times right here.
yeah. Oh, it's so good. I love that. It just I like the. It's always good to remind yourself of just like that first love, that
Hmm.
moment when you just fell in love with the Lord, and then it set you on this path and this
Yeah,
journey. Because sometimes on the in life, you lose sight of the why, and then it's good. I like to go back and be like, okay, yeah, I remember when I just said yes to whatever because it had something to do with the Lord. I'm just
hmm
like, I'll do it. Yeah.
that's it, man. That's it.